what are the two things that are the worst? One is liquid calories. Soda, juices, even nut milks, sweetened coffee, sweetened teas, energy drinks. We are living in a sea of liquid sugar, and it's really different than regular sugar. I mean, regular sugar is bad enough, but this seems to just accelerate the development of belly fat by being quickly absorbed, spiking blood sugar, spiking insulin, and that just leads to this whole cascade of belly fat. It's really bad.
Dr. Mark Hyman is a renowned physician, author, and advocate for functional medicine, a holistic, systems-based approach to health and wellness. With a focus on addressing the root causes of chronic disease, Dr. Hyman has authored numerous best-selling books, including The Pagan Diet and Food, What the Heck Should I Eat?, offering practical advice for optimizing nutrition and overall well-being. As the founder and director of the Ultra Wellness Center, he is dedicated to transforming healthcare by promoting personalized medicine and empowering individuals to take charge of their health. Dr. Hyman's work bridges the gap between science and lifestyle, making cutting-edge health solutions accessible to all.
So if you can do a single thing to dramatically improve your health, is get rid of liquid sugar calories. The second is flour, which is everywhere, and it turns out that flour is worse than table sugar when it comes to raising your blood sugar, which when you raise your blood sugar, you raise insulin. When you raise insulin, you sweep all the fuel out of your bloodstream and throw it into your belly fat cell. Basically what happens. So it's like insulin basically opens the gates, all the fuel, fat, sugar, carbs, everything goes flooding into your fat cells, and then the gate closes like a one-way turnstile in the subway. You can't get back out. So it's really bad. So flour and sugar.
Drinks with added sugar and foods made from refined flour are major drivers of weight gain and poor metabolic health. Sugary beverages, like sodas and flavored coffees, pack a high calorie count with little to no satiety, leading to excessive calorie intake. These sugars are rapidly absorbed into the bloodstream, causing insulin spikes that promote fat storage, particularly around the abdomen. Similarly, foods made from refined flour, such as white bread, pasta, and pastries, are stripped of fiber and nutrients, leading to quick digestion and sharp blood sugar fluctuations. These swings often trigger hunger and cravings for more sugary or starchy foods, creating a cycle of overeating. Over time, the combination of excess calories, fat storage, and metabolic disruption contributes significantly to weight gain and increases the risk of obesity-related diseases like type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular conditions. Replacing these foods with whole, nutrient-dense options is crucial for achieving and maintaining a healthy weight.
Now, do I eat flour occasionally? Yes. Do I try to eat flours that are better? Yes. I'll have coarsely grained flour, or I'll have flours that are full of extra fiber, lignans. I'll have buckwheat flour, Himalayan buckwheat flour, which is actually full of phytochemicals and low glycemic load and high protein, high minerals, and microbiome enriching fiber. So there's ways to, quote, hack it. Coconut flour, almond flour, those are all fine. I'm talking about wheat flour or grain flours. Even brown rice flour, all these healthy, quote, gluten-free snacks, they're actually often worse than regular flour because they're just so highly processed and quickly absorbed. So those are also huge things. And it's different eating a whole grain versus whole grain flour. Even if you eat whole wheat bread, it's still a problem. So I would stay away from flour and sugar, except on occasion as a treat, and make sure you have a meal that includes protein and fat and fiber so you actually can mitigate the effects of the flour on your blood sugar. Most of us were taught that, fat is just fat. It's like this inert thing. It's just there holding up your pants. It doesn't really do much. Not good to be fat or have fat on your body too much, but it's not a thing really. That's how it was when I was in medical school. But now we've learned that the fat cells in the belly, we call visceral fat or belly fat. It's essentially the fat around your organs, around your liver, kidneys, intestines. All this fat is very different qualitatively. And when you see someone with a big belly, or even who's skinny with a little belly, that is a sign that they're accumulating this belly fat. And what these cells are a whole nother organ. They produce cytokines. You've heard of the cytokine storm. Why is it that people with obesity are at the highest risk of hospitalization and death? Because their belly fat cells produce what we call adipose cytokines. One in particular called interleukin 6 or IL-6 is one of the key cytokines that's driving the cytokine storm in COVID. So that's why we're seeing this problem, is because of belly fat. Why people are dying from COVID is because of belly fat. That is important to understand. If everybody in America was thin and had no belly fat really to speak of, this would COVID would be like a non-issue, right? Unless you're really old or have a chronic disease or something terrible. But 88% of us have some degree of belly fat that's driving this problem.
Cytokines are immune signaling molecules that regulate inflammation, but an imbalance can increase vulnerability to viruses like C19. Chronic inflammation from conditions like obesity or diabetes weakens immune defenses, while an overactive response, known as a cytokine storm, can cause severe complications such as lung damage and respiratory failure. Managing inflammation through a healthy lifestyle is crucial to reducing the risk of severe viral infections.
So that's one issue. They also produce all kinds of hormones. So you see all kinds of changes in people's bodies. For example, women, when they have a lot of belly fat, will get acne, they'll get facial hair, they'll lose the hair on their heads. Men will, the opposite will happen. They'll get high estrogen levels because the fat converts testosterone to estrogen. They'll get breasts, they'll lose all the hair on their body, they'll get soft skin. So these are real things that happen. They also change your brain chemistry and they affect your hormones and your mood and your appetite. There's literally hundreds of molecules that are being produced by these fat cells. They're not just storage units for extra calories. They're literally organs that are dangerous organs that are producing inflammation, screwing up your hormones, screwing up your brain chemistry, and making you sick and causing all the diseases of aging.
Getting rid of belly fat is crucial for improving overall health and reducing the risk of chronic diseases. Excess belly fat, particularly visceral fat, is strongly linked to conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers, as well as hormonal imbalances and metabolic syndrome. It produces inflammatory molecules that contribute to chronic inflammation, weakens the immune system, and impairs organ function, increasing the likelihood of liver disease and kidney problems. Belly fat is also associated with high cholesterol and blood pressure, both major risk factors for cardiovascular disease and stroke. Reducing this fat can ease strain on the spine and joints, improving mobility, posture, and physical activity levels. Losing belly fat supports hormonal regulation, enhances mental health by reducing stress and anxiety, and promotes a longer, healthier life.
We evolved in a sea of scarcity. Now we live in a sea of abundance, and our genes are adapted to scarcity very well. So we are very good at accumulating and storing any excess calories. The challenge with our modern diet is the absolute excess of calories, the absolute excess of sugar and starch in our diet, and the endless ability to overeat. We're producing between 500 and 700 more calories a day per person in America than we did when I was born, because it is the single biggest thing that's driving disease. So at one point it was an adaptive mechanism, now it's a maladaptive mechanism. In one of my first books, Ultra Metabolism, I wrote about what we call the sumo wrestler diet. And basically the sumo wrestlers, the way they gain weight, because you got these little Japanese people who are not genetically prone to being obese. And how do they get them to be those huge sumo wrestlers? Well, they basically wake them up, they do their routine of exercise and training, and then they eat a humongous meal called chanko nabe, which is basically like, it's really actually healthy stuff, but it's a massive amount of food and protein and fat and rice, and it's like this massive meal. I love it, actually. I love to eat it. But it just makes them gain a lot of weight. So they basically had this giant lunch and then they go to sleep and then do the same thing. After the afternoon, they may wake up, a little exercise, big dinner, go to bed and sleep with a big full stomach. That will make you gain weight. Why? Because when you're sleeping, your body's in repair storage mode. So all these hormones change from day to night. And the hormones at night are storage hormones. So you're going to store all that food as belly fat. So you don't want to eat before bed. 3 hours at least. I mean, occasionally if you go out to dinner or whatever, it's fine. But like if you're on a regular schedule, like I eat, 5, 6 o'clock, bed, 9, 10 o'clock, give myself 3 hours to digest my meal and don't have snacks. Snacking, first of all, is the worst invention of humanity. It's, we all of a sudden got 600-700 extra calories a day per person, and the food industry was, what are you gonna do with that? Well, let's make it all these fun snacks and convince America they need to snack and never be hungry. It's the worst thing. So snacking is terrible, and you should really eat in a shorter time window. You should definitely not eat before bed, and if you do, I promise you're gonna gain weight.